Hello everyone, back again to talk about Dunkirk, which is Christopher Nolan's newest directed film that just came out. And I've loved Mr. Christopher Nolan for a long time. I've seen all of his films except for Following, which I really do need to see. But that one just went under the radar for me, but by the by, every single Christopher Nolan film that I've seen, I seriously think I really like them or love them, and I think that none of them are bad, and I think that even if somebody doesn't like his work, I feel like it's got such great artistry and cinematography and sound design that it works for a lot of people, even if they don't like some of his films, they can appreciate that. But I've already loved Christopher Nolan films before, but Dunkirk was a real surprise because I'm not a huge fan of war movies. I mean, I'll watch them, but they're not anything that particularly grips me because I feel like those films never have anything to grip onto. And to be fair, this film doesn't either. But I thought that he was a master of suspense and tension in this film. And I thought that the sound design was amazing in this film and how it really brings you into this moment in time. And I really thought that this encapsulated this moment so well that it honestly just took me by surprise with the sound design and with the tension and how he filmed it, that it really felt like you were in this moment. You really felt like you were in this war. You really felt like you were there. And it really works on that level so strongly. And I really loved it for that. And I love how, like I said, war movies don't usually get me because they don't have anything to grip onto, no characters to grip onto, and this doesn't have it either. And that's going to be a complaint for a lot of people because this film, with critics, is going insanely great, and I think that people are going to backlash instantly, like anything. Like, nowadays it's so hard for anybody to find their own opinion, and I love how, even though this film for me doesn't have character development or really any at all, it's just these people in the moment, I thought it made sense. And I thought that how these characters were in this moment, even if they don't have arcs or character development, I thought that was fine for this movie because this felt so real. Like you were in this moment that it didn't matter if these characters were developed. It mattered to see what was happening in this moment. It wasn't like a made-up story where you have arcs and you have a overarching story. This is just a moment in time that has happened before, and you have this iteration of that event, and I love how even those characters aren't developed, it works so strongly, just like you were there, and I didn't need character development, if that makes sense. And I love character development in movies. I really want that in movies, but I thought that this did such a fantastic job despite that. And I feel like that should be a huge honor because it's hard for me to like a movie really without a proper character to grip onto. And I thought that this just was so fantastic regardless of that. It really was so surprising. And I love how it's shot. There's so many scenes, like I said, that will bring you into it. That'll suck you into this and feel like you're actually there. The way that he tilts the camera, the way that he makes it claustrophobic in scenes, the way that it looks like how wide it is in the shots, it looks like you're actually there. And I really love how he does that in a lot of his films, but this one I think is fantastic and just showing how realistically brutal this is, and it's a PG-13 movie. That to me is such a surprise that you have a PG-13 movie about Dunkirk, and it's so surprising that this is extremely effective. And there are moments where violence does happen, of course, but it doesn't stay on the moment of something violent. And to me, that actually made it feel more intense. I don't know why, because there are a lot of movies that are too over the top. Like, say Hacksaw Ridge, which was I thought it was fine. I didn't love it. I thought it was okay, but like that felt kind of unrealistic with all the brutality in it. And I like how this movie, which is a PG-13, did so much intensity and brutality without really showing anything. And it's because of how, whether you're in a dark area where you can't see the actual violence happen, or it's in wide shot so you don't actually see the close-up to the moments that these violent incidents happen. But I really love that. I love that we have a PG-13 film that doesn't... that kind of pulls strings, I guess, in terms of the violence, but you don't need it. And I love how I have a movie like this to show for that. Again, this works so fantastically with all of these elements. These characters are not developed, but it makes sense as you're in this war, in this very moment. The movie starts with you already there. So it's not a movie that's going to have character development, which, like I said, is going to get a lot of flack. And Christopher Nolan has been getting flack for a while. I mean, like all of his movies you can criticize, like any movie, but I noticed the past couple of years, this one I think is going to get criticism for not having characters that are developed. And like Interstellar has gotten so criticized because of the ending and how people didn't like what happens. And then in Dark Knight Rises, where a lot of people hated that because people thought there were so many plot holes and a lot of other things. And it sucks because those movies that I just pointed out I love too. I think those are fantastic, and I think that this one is no different. It's such a fantastic film like the other ones, and it's gonna get flack. And to me, if you have a criticism, that is your opinion. But I feel like people, for me, go too overboard with a lot of things, and it's like no movie is ever gonna be perfect. I truly, strongly believe that, and I think that this is such a good movie, but like any movie, it's never going to be perfect, so I don't complain about the super nitpicky things that, to me, just make you seem like you don't even want to watch the movie if you point out all these little problems. I notice those, but I don't take those into effect as something that would make me hate it. It just, to me, people go too overboard with criticisms in terms of, yeah, you can criticize, but I feel like people criticize over every single thing, which makes even a movie that's considered one of the best movies ever, people can still nitpick the shit out of them and say it's the worst thing ever. But this is going to be another one of those Nolan films where it's going to be criticized, and I hope that doesn't come into fruition, but I think it's going to. It's going to be the next Interstellar or Dark Knight Rises. Because I feel like people are going to backlash because it's got such great critic reviews. But I agreed with them. I thought that this was a fantastic movie, and just how intense and brutal this was, and how realistic, and how you felt like you were here, and how the movie was shot, how the movie sounded. The sound design was great, where every time, if there were gunshots or other noises, I jumped, and they were placed so better than any like horror movie in the past couple of years with jump scares. Like, I love how you can have that in this movie too. Like, you can jump so many times, but it's warranted in how these characters in the movie are seeing that as well, and reacting to the moments as well as we are. So it's like you are completely immersed in this film. So just overall, Dunkirk, I thought, was so well done. Just, again, the things that I could complain about, to me, just made sense in this movie, like the character development. But I thought that this was such a fantastic movie with all those things I just mentioned. But go see Dunkirk. I really highly, strongly want you to go see it, but I think that hopefully you'll like it. Maybe you'll criticize everything, but whatever the case, I feel like you should see it. I feel like it deserves to be watched. I know it's going to make money because it's a Christopher Nolan movie, but go see it. It's worth it for me. So thanks guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.